Thank you, Cora. I've worked in the aerospace, pharmaceutical, medical device, and biologic industries. I've served on community boards, coached soccer, taught canoeing, and studied martial arts. And I have cerebral palsy. For so long, CP was something I tried to hide, something I tried to minimize, something to be ashamed of, something I apologized for having. I didn't arrive at these thoughts on my own, but through my interactions with those around me. Neighbors who said I was cursed by God, teachers who said I was a cripple and a waste of their time, doctors who encouraged my parents to put me in a home. But I wasn't placed in a home. Instead, my parents worked with amazing doctors and therapists at Shriners Hospital in Philadelphia. I had innovative surgeries. We used novel physical therapies to keep me motivated while developing my dexterity and balance. There were some great teachers that helped me accomplish things no one thought possible when I was born. I played the clarinet, learned to type, and was a campfire girl. I graduated high school the year the Americans with Disabilities Act became law. I finally felt I mattered. I wasn't viewed as an other. I thought there would be less of a struggle. But that legislation isn't the final answer. There's more work to be done. The opportunities for people with CP are increasing, but not fast enough. Many organizations still fight against accommodation, considering only the financial cost, instead of seeing the potential gains. They often don't understand that having an inclusive community or workplace brings diversity, which leads to innovation. World CP Day is important. World CP Day celebrates the diversity within cerebral palsy through educating people about the different types of CP and range of abilities. According to worldcpday.org, its impact can range from a weakness in one hand to almost a complete lack of voluntary movement. Most people assume I sprained my ankle or broke a toe, and that's the reason for my limp. There are many misconceptions regarding cerebral palsy that World CP Day addresses. World CP Day brings awareness to the challenges people with cerebral palsy still face. When people think about accessibility, they often envision wheelchair access. But people with CP can walk and just have balance problems that could lead to injury. Sometimes small adjustments can make a huge difference. I have to wear dedicated shoes in one of the buildings I work in often. There was no chair or bench where the shoes must be changed. I asked for a chair to be added to the area. It sounds small, but being comfortable enough to ask for an accommodation without worrying about the stigma of needing an adjustment is a huge improvement. Years ago, I wouldn't have considered asking and just risked falling over. World CP Day honors the accomplishments of people with cerebral palsy. I saw my left foot just before my 17th birthday. To see a portrayal of someone with CP was exciting and exhilarating. And it was based on a real person, a famous artist named Christy Brown. It showed me that people with CP can be anything. World CP Day gives a voice to all that we are. I want my children to grow up in a world where people with CP are just another friend, just another teammate, just another coworker, just their mom. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, for sharing your life experiences and shining that experience and light on World CP Day to remind us of the importance of our day. Our second speaker is Advocacy Coordinator at Access CNY, Sally Johnston. And Access CNY, well, she'll tell you more about Access CNY. So, Sally?
Thank you, Clara. I have to get this thing to stop. Put the brakes on. I'm pretty old, so I'm going to take you back a little ways before I talk about Access CNY. I was born in a time when people with disabilities were not seen anywhere, not anywhere at all. I spent my first 8 years in an institution, and then I was fortunate enough to live in a small town that didn't have a special school. So for a short time, I went to a regular school, which was the best thing in the world, I think, for me. And this was at a time when there were no laws. But as I said, there was no schools for people with disabilities, and my aunt was a principal, so I had a way in. But imagine back in those days, I played in the neighborhood with other kids and so on. I was fortunate, but there were no other disabled children out there. Non-disabled kids didn't know about kids with disabilities or people with disabilities. They were either in institutions or they were hidden in people's homes, away from people, away from society, so they didn't see them. How far we've come since then. At that time, growing up, there were no laws at all. There was no access to public facilities, no right to an education, although I did receive an education. When I moved out of the small town, I had to go to a specialized school here. And that made it difficult for me. I think that integration is the best thing that we can do for any person, any child with a disability, no matter what. So having that short time of experiencing that did a lot for me. But then I had the tough struggle of not being able to go to college because no laws were there. And I was told, oh, you're too disabled. You could never get a job. That was what I was told by professionals. And that's when I set out to say, I'm going to do something about it. Because I don't care what they said. I'm going to fight and get involved in whatever I can to make a difference. I started out volunteering for a community center and gained a lot of support and ended up on their board and advocating for many things in the university area for about 20 years. I finally landed in 1982 a job through the agency called CP Center at the time in 1982. Was I ever excited? It was so exciting. I became the program supervisor part-time and part-time recreation specialist for the residential program that began. It was a brand new residential program. All residential programs back then were for people who had some intellectual disabilities, but not for people with severe physical disabilities. So this was really an honor to begin new group settings for people with severe disabilities. And in that setting, we did serve several people with cerebral palsy. And one gentleman stands out in my mind, and that's Michael, a man by the name of Michael, who went from being in an institution, from living in a group home, and actually becoming eventually married and obtaining a job. Pretty successful, and that was all the result of the work that we did through our agency. As time went on, our agency name changed to Enable, and now we've changed to Access CNY. I've worked for Access CNY for approximately, maybe, I don't know, 36, 37, something like that years. And I've really enjoyed working with the people there. We provide a wide variety of services, and now we even include services to help people with mental health issues. But we serve a lot of people with cerebral palsy, with other developmental disabilities. It's been my honor to work there for so many years. I do say to you, though, we have come a long way. We've come far. But let's hope we can stay there. Because sometimes I worry about our government, and I'm not trying to pick on any sides here. But I read an awful lot about, Medicare is a burden that should be cut. Social Security. We should change that. Hey, that has to do with all of us, right? Disabled people and non-disabled people. Leave that alone. And then we hear, we've got to do something with Medicaid. We need to make cuts. That's our livelihood. That's how we can live in the community and be a part of our community. We can't let our government take that away from us. And that is a message I'm saying today. It's a strong message. I want to thank you for inviting me, Cora, to participate today. It's been an honor. I do want to let you know that there is a movement called Disabled in Action of Greater Syracuse Incorporated. And Access lets us meet there on a monthly basis. And anyone who feels that they want to get involved in the civil rights movement, give me a call. Just call Access CNY and ask for Sally Johnston. Thank you very much.